Hey guys, it's Azure Eruption here with episode 1 of my deck rating segment. In this first episode we're going to cover Elemental Dragons, but first I want to mention that my first 4 episodes will cover the top 4 decks of the March 2013 format. This is because I want to avoid questions like what rating would you give Prophecy if Spellbook of Judgment wasn't banned, and other speculative questions that I could just quickly get out of the way by doing the deck ratings for the top 4 decks of the March 2013 format. So again, the first 4 episodes will be of Elemental Dragons, which is this episode 1, Spellbooks, 3-Axis Fire Fist, and Murmurs in no particular order. So going back to this episode, Elemental Dragons. So Elemental Dragons was probably the best deck of the last format, or in my opinion is the second best. I personally think that Spellbooks was a better deck, but in most people's opinions it was definitely one of the top 2 decks. In terms of clearance, actually before I go into clearance, I'll just give you a quick recap of the categories for my rating system. So first is clearance, the ability to remove cards from the field by battle or by card effect. Second is stun, interfering your opponent's move, denying them their attempt to do something or stopping them from even being able to attempt it in the first place. Third is speed, how fast can it reach its key cards or win condition. Consistency is the 4th one, how often can it open up with a playable hand or better. And explosiveness is the 5th one, can it consume resources for a really grand or sort of spectacular move, or is it sort of incapable of doing that. So in terms of clearance for Elemental Dragons, I would give the deck quite a high rating because the deck has access to Blaster, which just clears any card on the field, on your opponent's side of the field at least. It's very live most of the time, and the deck also has access to Dragosack, which is just an amazing card. You basically get to summon 2 tokens and you only need to use one of them to destroy cards on the field. It can also tribute itself, which is, quite good, but it's not so good when your opponent takes it and attributes itself to destroy a card you control. But part of the reason why I would give it an above average rating for clearance is Big Eye. Big Eye not only clears your opponent's monster, but it takes it so that you can use it. So you'll get resources at your opponent's expense, which is just a really amazing effect. The ban list for the OCG did hit Big Eye to 1. I could easily see why Konami did that. So moving on, stun is the next category. In terms of stun, I'd give Elemental Dragons quite a high rating again. The reason why is because of Light and Darkness Dragon. Most Elemental Dragon decks don't usually play Light and Darkness Dragon, but they can easily side into it, and Light and Darkness Dragon is a really annoying card to deal with for some decks. They just automatically lose. I'd even say most decks just automatically lose to Light and Darkness Dragon, apart from Kidstella's Evil Swarm, Spellbooks if you have High Priestess, and a few other decks. Also, Dragosack could be a bit of an annoying card to deal with for some decks. Its ability to not be destroyed can be really troublesome, and Elemental Dragons run quite a big lineup of hand traps, Veilers, Maxis, Swift Scarecrows, sometimes Droll Lockbirds, and the reason why they kind of play this is because of Super Rejuvenation. If you activate Super Rejuvenation, you kind of want to draw these hand traps rather than draw normal traps, because you won't be able to play them during your opponent's next turn. And Elemental Dragons do play a few traps and quick plays, like I think it's Forbidden Chalice to use with Colossal Fighter and Maxi, also Breakthrough Skill to deal with Kaiku and Jalvin, and maybe for Odd Solar Morning as well. In terms of speed, I'd give Elemental Dragons a very high rating. I just mentioned before that it was one of the top 2 decks of the March 2013 format, which is a very fast format. In terms of speed, I'd probably just put it behind Spellbooks, but the deck has access to Super Rejuvenation, Gold Sarcophagus, Sacred Sword of 7 stars, and that the baby Elemental Dragons just speeded the deck up so much. I'll definitely give it a high rating for speed. In terms of consistency, very high rating. Basically half the deck is Elemental Dragons. In fact, I think exactly 20 of the monsters in the deck are Elemental Dragons, so it's very consistent. And also Gold Sarcophagus not only adds an Elemental Dragon to your hand during the turn which you activate it, but also 2 turns later. So it's a +1. It's just really fast in Elemental Dragons. And in terms of explosiveness, the baby dragons just blew out of the water. Being able to just drop basically twice as many Elemental Dragons as you normally would with the baby dragons just, you know, made the deck amazing in terms of explosiveness. Even if they can't attack, you can still go through the XYZ phase. Those dragon stacks with big eyes, you know. So I would also give it a really high rating for explosiveness. So overall, I would give the deck a 4 out of 5 for clearance. So very above average. Also the same for stun, 4 out of 5, above average. In terms of speed, consistency and explosiveness, I'd give it a 5 out of 5 easily. Elemental dragons overall 23 out of 25. Very, very, very competitive deck. And I hope you guys enjoyed this rating. Tell me whether you agree with it or not. To be honest, I feel like it's a good rating, but you know, you could disagree with it. So say so in the comment section below if you disagree with it. And this is your option. Signing out and have a nice day.